Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today I want to share again the excitement of opening this package just arrived. We're gonna be unpacking this together, and of course, as far as you can check the title, it's about an Atari XL 800 from 82 to 85. That was the production line, then stopped, and it was the successor or the bigger brother of the Atari 600 XL. And I really think we should call them both the 600 XL and the 800 XL as the successors to the Atari 400 and 800 series, and then the unsuccessful Atari 1200 XL. Both machines used to have a more compact case. They could run almost the same software. There are slight differences between OS versions, the Atari OS back in the day. And this particular one, the 800 XL, had 64 kilobytes of RAM compared to the smaller brother, the 600 XL, which only had 16 kilobytes of RAM. And those were the 8-bit family computers from Atari back then, all based on the MOS technologies processor, which was no other than the 6502C CPU back then. This one came from eBay again, with no guarantee that it is a working unit or anything. Again, it was the no power cables, nothing. It's sold as is. One of the major things I'm looking at is if there is this protective film on the logo and also the cartridge slot right here. You can see there is protective transparent kind of sticker, so it's good in overall good condition, but nobody knows if it is a working unit or anything. So we're gonna investigate, and hopefully we can repair if there's something wrong this unit together here. But by the looks of it, it's pretty dirty and kind of filthy in between the keys and around the outside part. I believe it's going to be worse inside, but let's see, let's check. The Achilles knee heel for these models is this array of keys, never stable. It's even worse with 600 XL. But yeah, let's try to find out first of all if this machine can be powered up and boot up, and then we'll check whatever else is needed. Around the machine we can find several connections, parallel bus with cover, which is good, the peripheral connection right on the left of it, the monitor connection. You can see how filthy and dirty it is. Switch box, that's the way they used to call it back then, the TV modulator right here, and there is a plastic cover next to it, which usually the channel selector used to sit right here. The power plug, it's a 7-DIN classic, but it only uses, and the on-off switch, it only uses 5 volts in order to operate. We can see the sticker is in place, serial number and everything, so I guess we have pretty good chances this is a good machine, or something that we can fix today. No major damages apparently visible can be found. I like the parallel bus cover is in place, and this is very rare. And yeah, apart from cleaning, nothing is damaged, at least to the outside cover and around it. So I'm gonna of course open it up and check everything. First we're gonna try to boot it up and see if it's working. The mechanical keyboard has always been an issue with Atari. as there have always been noisy and non-responsive. So back to the guide that I keep here for several models. You can see what I was saying before. We need plus 5 volts at 2 amps to operate this machine, one shield connection, and ground, of course. But this is split into 3 for plus, and split into the opposite side, 3 for the ground. I don't know why they did it this way, but it only operates with 5 volts simple connection. Could be just a couple of pins and the shield, so that would be all 3 pins altogether. But anyways, I'll try to find my power supply now, which is this brick coming from a non-working 600XL unit, but it's the same. And as you can see, it outputs 5 volts, roughly around 2 amps. And it's a huge brick, if you ask me, for this purpose. But anyways, I'm glad I had this particular one, the original one, in my spares. So let's try to boot up the machine. I have already can't wait. I have placed the game cartridge, the only one I have. But for starters, I will power it up without the cartridge. First indication is good. We have picture. I guess it's wow, working unit, and the LED indicator came up. So we have a working unit, but not so fast. Let's check the keys. As I was suspecting, keys are not working. Might be a simple connection problem, or the ribbon cable taken off and left off. Could be something more difficult to fix. But we have some. Oh, no, the ribbon cable must be in place. Some of the keys are working, but not all of them. More than the half are not responding. The reset button is working, so I have to open it and check the keyboard connection. As it looks, as long as it looks okay with some keys, might be simple ribbon cable misplacement or something simple. Let's open it up and see. But before we do that, a few things I wanted also to mention. As already said, the mechanical keyboard is a kind of a disaster. Here we can find how it looks, the 17 connector for the power. The 26 Atari games like this one, cartridges, cannot be inserted, and they are not compatible with this machine. Only those ones. This one is for 400, 800 and smaller factor cartridge game. So only those can be fitted and are compatible with XL series. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I used my Commodore audio video connection as this 800 XL and not the 600 XL, and the models before that are separating luma and chroma the same way, and so that makes compatible the Commodore 1700 and 1800 series monitors. So we have mono sound, chroma and luma separated, so you can use any Commodore or the classic Commodore audio video cable that you might have as well for this machine. And I forgot to show previously the right side of the machine, which has 2 joystick ports available, classic Atari style 9-din joystick ports, nothing on the other side. And as I was moving now the machine around, I've heard some strange noises coming from the inside, so I'm going to open it up and see what happens, because by the sounds of it might be something loose inside, and that might be dangerous for giving me a short. So listen to this, if you can hear the clicking sound, something is terribly loose, and this is always dangerous because it can give you a short. Something metallic popped out or is loose. So let's I shouldn't have powered it up, but I haven't heard this before, so let's open it up. Gives you easy access as we have only 4 screws on the corners right here, and 2 plus 2 right here at the bottom of the case. There are no hidden screws under the rubber feet, so it's just 6 screws and you're ready to go under the hood. We can see there is a metallic plate for SEC regulations back then, so there is a shield around the machine like it used to be with the same with TI and all the American computers from back in the day, or the Commodore, or any other computer to be sold in the United States back then. And finally we are under the hood. We got inside and it's a jungle right in here. We can see dust and some special bonus like toys for kids, couple of plastic cars, little cars. So I can only assume there was a child in the family that used to play with these plastic cars. I left them where they were, like this yellow one, little car, and another one right here, the green one. I'm lucky because those are plastic parts, and I'm now just going around to show you how filthy and dirty this is. The ribbon for the keyboard membrane has been cut, not even straight, and the problem comes from here. This point should have been cut because it should be longer to reach the connector right here. The rest of the machine is full of dust. You can see dirt and dust everywhere. I have to clean it thoroughly and remove the plate, the shield. I bet things will be looking better under the shield because they are protected, but you can see how much dust and dirt has been concentrated around the parts on the top of the shield and around it. So again, we've been lucky, guys. We only had a couple of plastic cars left in here, or somehow. So I'm gonna now try to clean the connectors and everything, the individual parts, and remove keep the toys as a souvenir, as a bonus, and I'm gonna try to remove also the plate that holds the keyboard together, because I want to check if the membrane is in good condition after all, and then I will try to put it back into the connector and see if it's gonna be working or not. Otherwise we're gonna be needing new membrane to be ordered and stuff like that, which is extra cost, of course, at all times. The motherboard has been removed completely. As you can see, there are some long screws that holding the plate together. The bottom part, that's another part of the plate, and then the upper part of the plate. In order to be removed, you have to remove first the screws and the bottom part of the plate, this one, and then everything is becoming loose, and you can reach the motherboard. The PCB is of some good quality. You can see stains and some food leftovers here. It's funny, but everything inside this machine, like the dust, the hair, and the dirt must be, oh, look at this one, must be 40 years old or something. So yeah, it needs I'm gonna wash the plastics. I'm going to remove the stains and everything, and I'm going to also remove, of course, the those screws that hold the bottom part of the shield together with the upper part of the shield, so that everything is separated, and we can clean individual parts in a better way. The short screws are holding the plate, the shield together. Quite a few of them. There is one tricky thing: the shield, the extra shield that goes onto the parallel port and underneath the shield, which is going to give ground connection to whatever peripheral is going to be connected there. And apart from that, there is no much difficulty removing. Just keep in mind you have to put it back. It is not unusual to keep forgetting about this part while reassembling the unit. And here we go, we have the bottom part of the shield off. It's shiny and new from the downside, looking at the internal side. There is paper, non-conductive material in between the shield, the bottom part of the shield, and the circuit. A wise thing to do. And here we have the bottom part of the motherboard. Let's flip it over and we'll go around it, the upper part, which is more interesting because it holds all the ICs and all the components. We can see far left the soldiers, the dynamic RAM HM4864 by Hitachi, couple of logic TTL chips next to it. There were 3 different modified custom chips, I would say, from Atari. It was Sally, that was the 6502 modified version that could stop the CPU using the halt input. It was POKEY, and of course it was ANTIC. ANTIC is a microprocessor which processes a sequence of instructions we used to call the display list. It was the GTIA, the color television interface adapter, the chip coming usually from Oki in Japan, and the POKEY, which was the chip responsible for reading the keyboard, generating sound and serial communications and all that. So wonderful machine, if you ask me. You can see still there's dust and hair around it, but beautiful design, simple but beautiful design. They have put definitely some effort around the design of the chips, the custom chips, and all the functions around this machine. 64 kilobytes of RAM was serious stuff back then. I'm going to clean the contacts of the parallel bus as well, and the contacts inside the cartridge slot as well, with some isopropyl alcohol later on. So again, a very, very nice design, very cleverly made machine. Definitely a success compared to 1200 XL, for example, especially in the United States, but also it was doing well back in Europe and the rest of the world. A good practice is can you see here this heavy duty on off switch, which is heavy duty, but heavy duty one, but after 40 years you never know. It's good to put some WD-40 inside the contacts. Another good practice is, of course, to clean the edge connector for the parallel bus, and I went over this process of cleaning thoroughly the circuit around the chips with isopropyl alcohol as mentioned. Another good practice is try to reseat to check actually if some chip needs reseating, but we already have seen that the prompt is coming up and the machine works, so just keep this in mind. And now let's go back to the keyboard. I'm going to remove the ground connection from the cartridge slot to the back of the keyboard, the metallic plate that holds the keyboard together, and we'll find out how many parts of the keyboard are there. I believe it's a sandwich. Removing the screws will reveal the membrane and the keys underneath, so 3 parts should be there. So I'm going to remove all the screws from the plate and go underneath. The upper case is gone. You can see how clean it looks. I tried my best. It was a couple of screws on both sides holding the keyboard onto the upper, still hair inside, holding the whole keyboard together with a case, but that's the easy part, to remove the upper part of the machine. And now let's focus on the keyboard itself. Now here is our sandwich. You can see there is the membrane goes all the way across the keys and everything, and held by the metallic plate. Every screw has been removed, and now I'm going to remove the whole plate. So this is part 1, and in the middle should be the membrane itself, and yes, it's the membrane in between the plate and the keyboard itself, the keys. We have to be cautious because there are little springs on each and every key, and we don't want to lose any springs, little springs of those. Now here is the strange construction here, a separate keyboard that holds the start, help, reset, options button is separated from the rest of the keys. And here is a closer look to the springs. You can see little springs coming out of every hole holding the keys on the keyboard. So I would suggest keep it facing down at all times and do whatever cleaning is needed. And if the membrane needs to be replaced, I mean whatever, but keep it facing down so you won't lose any springs. And then if you have a new membrane, you can put it in place and put the plate on top of that, and you'll be done in no time. But just don't flip it over, because the springs might fall. So I have isopropyl alcohol here at all times on the desk, and I'm going in between the contacts of the membrane, and with a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol I'm gonna try to clean both contacts from both sides. There is a layer in between, a plastic layer in between, to prevent the contacts to be in touch all the time, so that you can only they can only make contact whenever a key is pressed. So I'm going to, I don't know if it's gonna work, I'm going to do that for every contact. I'm going to use the Q-tips or cotton buds or earbuds, however you want to call it. It's amazing how many particles of dust you can find in between the keyboard. So I'm going to do this carefully. The membrane is kind of fragile material, always have to be cautious. Now let's move to the side. This is the separate part of the keyboard holding the extra keys together, the help option and all the keys on the right side. Those two contacts here are the ones to light up the LED. And again, you have to be cautious with the little springs inside the part of the box that holds the keys together, and many cellophane tape pieces have been removed from I don't know when. Again, you can see the cotton buds. They have removed quite some dust from this particular part of the keyboard because it's curvy and it holds the dust, much more dust than the rest of the keyboard. And this is the layer that goes in between the contacts, so you have to be again very careful how you put it in between the two other parts of the membrane, and then you're done, hopefully done. So let's test it and see what we got. Okay, and the sandwich of the keyboard has been placed back together in reverse order, and you can hear the wonderful sound of the keys. I'm going row by row to check each and every key to see that it's working, and I'm pretty pleased with the results. I didn't expect that, just because the ribbon cable was cut and it was so short that I have spent, I don't know, about an hour to make it right and put it in place. And so what I was thinking is I'm not going to remove it for whatever reason. From now on I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm happy that it's back into action, that it's actually working, and I'm testing now the keys and the overall logic and whatever, the classic silly program that we write usually to test the machine's ability to interpret the basic, and I guess we're good to go. So I can finally play with my Miner 49er. As I was looking so forward to playing with this all day through, and I'm happy. I'm gonna do this right now. I'm going to put in the cartridge and start playing the game, the only one I have actually. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done that, please do subscribe. I'll be catching you soon with another video, another retro system from the past, another review or another repair. We can fix things together on camera. We can share knowledge. Please share your comments as well, and I'm gonna put some links to some useful stuff underneath the video in the comments area. Some things and some links that might be useful for any Atari enthusiast out there. Again, thanks so much for watching. I'll be catching you soon. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy 8-bit home micros from the past, as we're going to travel back in time together, hopefully soon again. Thanks, bye.